I'm Vic Myers. Welcome to the Resistance. 2 days ago, I talked about how real leaders don't complain, but find solutions and implement them. And yesterday, I talked about a path forward and promised to discuss the fear that people have around future elections, as well as some ideas for how we move forward. And that's what I want to do today. First, let's address the fear that some people have around whether or not we'll even have a valid election next year. Guess what, folks? That fear is exactly what they want. This isn't just politics. It's psychological warfare. They want you to be afraid. They want you to stop believing that your vote matters, to think it's all rigged, and that showing up is simply a waste of time. Because when people stop believing, people stop participating. And when we stop participating, democracy stops working. There's 3,143 counties in this country. Each one runs its own elections. County clerks, local volunteers, real people who count real ballots in real communities. And the Constitution makes it clear that elections are run by the states, not the federal government. Now, they don't have to rig all those counties to try and steal an election, but even rigging half of them would be a monumental task. Like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. Our system is too big, too local, and too public to be hijacked, as long as the people stay engaged and keep participating. And now that we've addressed the fear about future elections, let's talk about how we make those elections work for us. Where do we start? The National Party is going to do what the National Party has always done, and I reckon that's what got us here. We need to do something different. We need to build a new ground game from the bottom up, and we need to do it ourselves. The good news is the tools, methods, the organizations that we need to do this, they're already out there. And I'll tell you a few examples of what that looks like in action. National Ground Game is out there deep canvassing, registering voters, and talking to people the big campaigns never bother to reach. Vote Save America helps anyone, anywhere, find their polling place, their ballot, and their power. Vote.org keeps it simple and nonpartisan. No slogans, no party lines, just access. Rock the Vote is getting young people fired up again. Voto Latino is empowering first-time voters and new voices in communities long ignored. And the Black Voters Matter Fund is building power that lasts long after Election Day. These are just a few of the organizations doing the real work, the kind that keeps democracy alive. Supporting organizations like the ones I just listed is one way to get more people engaged. But it's not the only way. There's a lot more we can do right where we live. We can talk to our neighbors, our coworkers, our friends, and our families about engaging in our political system. And don't let people tell you they don't talk about politics or that they don't care about politics. Politics cares about them. Their bosses care about politics. The corporations they work for care about politics. The people in power right now have been talking about politics in their churches and social gatherings for decades. That's how they built their power. And it's time we do the same. We can't afford to avoid the conversation anymore. We need to make it normal to talk about politics again, because the more we talk about it, the more people start to see where their power really is. That's how we start changing the culture, by making political engagement part of everyday life again. And when it comes to voting, we need to stop treating it like it's a chore. Voting is an act of ownership of our democracy. It's an act of defiance against the people who are in charge, who want you to believe that it doesn't matter. In the last election, turnout was around 62% of eligible voters. That means the parties and the special interests only had to reach 62% of the people to achieve victory. But imagine if participation hit 70 or 75% or even higher. That would dilute the influence of those special interests who have been controlling our elections. It would mean incumbents who should have retired long ago would finally be retired by the people. And before I wrap this up, I want to acknowledge that the current Democratic Party is a big part of the problem. I'm talking about the guys in Washington. But it's not the big problem. First, we have to stop the march toward authoritarianism by taking back our power. Once we've done that, well, then we can work on fixing the Democratic Party, and the Republican Party for that matter. Everything we've talked about comes down to one thing: participation. Real, active, everyday participation. Democracy doesn't survive on autopilot. It survives when people stay involved, stay informed, and bring others with them. I'm not talking about building a party, I'm talking about rebuilding power, the people's power. I'm talking about taking back ownership of a system that's supposed to serve us, not rule us. So if you're already in this fight, your job now is to grow it. Reach out, talk to people who've tuned out, get them back in the conversation, get them registered, get them voting. The opposition wants fewer of us engaged. They want fewer of us believing we can change anything. But the more of us who step up and bring others with us, the stronger this democracy becomes. Thanks for listening. Good day.